Welcome back to another segment of the complete menu. Here we go, the rest of Super Mario Bros. Hard Mode. We're going to be going through the last part of the game in this part. And here we got 5-1. I mean, it looks pretty much like 3-1, but during the day. There was a good advantage over there to take getting a 1-up by knocking the Koopa Troopa into all those Buzzy Beetles and jumping over at the last second. Also, a nice opportunity here as well, but oh well, what's done is done. Well, what I'm trying to do over there's a gap. Sometimes the 1-up appears and sometimes it doesn't. I'm not sure what the criteria is, but I found more often than not it's worked when I've fallen through the gap as opposed to jump over and approach it from the left. But it wasn't sporting for me there, and that was my first run, I believe. No, but in this game, if you collect a life, it stays. Every time you die, it does respawn. So I'm not sure, even if that wasn't my first attempt, it's been a while when I recorded this. 1-up should definitely have been there. The firework criteria. I should go back and check and see if it's if it's like the other games later in the series where you need a double digit at the end of the timer, like for example 366, and you will get 60 fireworks depending on the two numbers that repeat. But it doesn't seem to be the case. Here I'm just desperately trying to find a mushroom. Here we go. Hammer Bros. I believe they're introduced here. No, they were actually introduced earlier. But they are the worst. It's actually the final boss of the game. Spoilers. This is actually a secret area that I didn't find on the first run through. Took me a couple tries to find this, but I believe it jumps you quite ahead, and it is a little simple as long as you don't get caught under those elevators, because they will drag you down and there's no way to swim around it. Even in hard mode, where the elevators are smaller, there's no budge room. Temporarily, when I grabbed that fire flower, it changed into a nice shade of pink, which looks a bit like one of Luigi's costumes to Smash Bros. But I know that's not the origin, because that's a bit too obscure, even though nearly all of Luigi's costumes are ridiculously obscure. Because I did recently watch a costume origins video. But in this game, I believe in the original anyway, Luigi's regular outfit was his fire. Did I say fire? Yes, his fire outfit. You know, like when you have one fire, then you have two fire. No, his fire flower outfit. That was his default costume, and when he grabbed a fire flower, yep, got that first try, he would change into what Mario would change to when he had the fire flower. So Luigi would go from wearing white overalls and a green shirt to white overalls and a red shirt. Mario was colored. He was brownish pants, I believe, the brownish overalls and a red shirt. And so in the All-Stars version, they've definitely cleaned that up because there's been a couple games since then. Mostly based off the color scheme from Mario World and 3, I believe. No, 3 had black overalls. But the color scheme from Mario World, but a bit more vibrant. I don't know why, but I found those colors a little faded. Yeah, here I am talking about clothes in the Mario game. One life. I think this is close to the first game over. I don't leave them in though, so I guess the only time you notice them is a random dip in points. I always recommend going, if you see a section like that, go along the bottom, because the bottom fire bars will spin into the ground and out of sight, making them harmless. So you can time a run and you don't really have to worry about jumping. Ooh, I'm not sure if you noticed that, but when I jumped there was a bit of lag. When you're playing that, your butt clenches like crazy. Like you don't know if you're going to make it because the game's kind of going into PowerPoint mode a little bit. Either the frame rate's dropping or something. It's just, it happens every now and then, like it's a really slow jump. It's probably when you don't hold on. All those toads doing in that bag. Then Mario reaches in and finds an empty bottle of booze. Oh wow, I actually made it to World 6 without game over. Thought I'd die there. But I definitely will die in World 6, but I keep saying I definitely do this, and I keep showing myself up, so every definitely take with a grain of salt. And this is another easy Lakita level. I really enjoy the Lakita levels because they kind of encourage a gotta go fast mentality. And as strange it is for a Mario game, but it's kind of refreshing to kind of go at a breakneck pace, and the level design allows for it. Usually there'll be something that kind of blocks you if you try to go faster in the other levels. Here it's kind of flat and there's tricky jumps to make, but it's nice overall. The trick with these kinds of bonus rooms is to jump up the top and try to fall into the space, because you can't make that jump otherwise, and I've looked, there's no hidden blocks on the left to help you get up. And dropping in is not really a good idea. You want to jump up and start swerving to the right, so you can, because you have more mid-air control than you do when you fall. Because you're falling straight down and you're trying to swerve, you'll need a lot of time to enable to move Mario that way, but when you're jumping, you're already moving on the way up. So when you're on the way down, you've definitely moved enough to squeeze in there. Another trick you can do is stand on the lip of the piranha plants in case there's something on the floor level trying to get you, and just wait for the piranha plant to go back in. The entire pipe isn't a hitbox, it's the plant itself that's the problem. Oh, that was close. Oh, I immediately wasted the star. Oh well. Here I'm trying to duck and slide, but I have no room to build up a run. There we go. And I realize I'm not going to get the one on top of the bricks, on top of the pipe, so I just ignore it. Oh, I believe I've gotten the game over by this point, because I was in 100,000 and now I'm back in the tens of thousands. I guess we'll see my lives when it goes to the next level. 1? No, I've definitely gotten the game over. I believe this is, yeah, this might be my favorite, world, just because of what happens here. Coming up soon though, if I'm wrong though. But even with the varied background styles, you notice some sort of similarity. There's usually either taking place at night or day, and it's usually some sort of rolling green lines with palm trees or something. Well, I guess it didn't happen here. But in a weird way... Ah, okay, here we go. This... I show the clean run, then I show the fuck up. So we're still back in World 3, so... I do a run up, decide to go for the platform, and... What? That was some bullshit. I mean, my face was just... Jaw kind of dropped in that moment, because that is some bullshit. I clearly jumped on it. It's like, oh, sorry Mario, this elevator's transparent right now. Come back later. I can't, I'm dead. What was I saying? It's kind of refreshing in a way that they all kind of share a theme, and it goes throughout the game, as opposed to the kind of tried and true 8 worlds, you know, grass, desert, water, ice, mountain, Bowser, and cloud level that kind of keeps repeating every Mario game done in this style, whereas this, you kind of go through kind of like an extended World 1, if you will. Like, nearly everything is rolling green lands, but with a bit of variety. And there is a lot of ice levels, or at least snow-covered levels in this game. It's not really ice physics in this game, but I don't know, I find that preferable than to have the stock 8 worlds that they keep repeating. Because you know they're phoning it in at this point. And the games that fall away from the traditional Mario standard, or at least the 2D standard, are the ones that have the varied aesthetic, like Galaxy and Odyssey, which will be coming out soon. The 7-1's kind of bullet bill heavy, but... Oh, that was beautiful. Wait, did I kill them both? Yeah, I'm kind of slowing down because I'm like, what just happened? I was thinking I was at least going to take a pot shot, but no, guess not. And I'm just... Wow, this is a ridiculous display of luck. Now I'm going to get hammered by something incredibly easily. That's just a rule. Ah, shit! Wow, I did all that and I didn't get hit. That is near ridiculous. I think there's a good opportunity to do a one-up trick. Just a standard hop on the buzzer beetle, let it ricochet off a shelf and keep bouncing off it repeatedly to effectively stay in the air and rack up the combos and keep getting one-ups. Ooh, a fire flower in a water level. This is definitely going to be interesting. I'm going to go a bit mad with power, but I'm going to lose it really quickly, I would imagine. Because when you've got the... Yeah, there it is. When you get the fire flower, you kind of just... You don't want to do the slow strategy, you want to just... You want to just nuke the bloopers before they even get close. But... What are you going to do? You can off-screen the bloopers, I believe that's what happened to this one. There are some invisible currents though. Now here we go, the fish is dipping down. But that one's a bit more obvious. Sometimes they do it ever so slightly. Like let's say a pixel's worth or 2 pixels worth, and it's enough to get you. But there are some invisible underwater currents. So if you feel yourself getting pulled down and your regular tapping of the A, or in this case 2 button on the Wiimote, isn't working, just mash harder. Just get out of that. Get out of the pool. And that's definitely a trap down there. I mean, you probably could get the coin, but you get sucked down a lot quicker. I'm just waiting to make sure that the blue one right definitely kills itself, so it doesn't come back and hit me while I'm trying to get in the pipe. Alright, 7-3. Another Russian level. Because if you hold down the run button, you'll definitely outrun the fish's arc before it comes back down. At least the fishes you can see. If there's some that pop up underneath you, there's no accounting for that, but at least the ones that pop up from behind you definitely can outrun them. Don't believe it happens in this playthrough, but sometimes a Cheep Cheep can kill itself by jumping up directly underneath your feet, which is the kill zone, and that'll cause you to ever so slightly hop after the standard bounce that you do after you jump off an enemy without pressing A, and that could throw you off because you're in the air, so you can't exactly jump once you've done that small hop, and you're getting ready to jump, and a Cheep Cheep comes along and knocks you up, therefore eating your jump. I believe that's happened to me a couple times. We have another puzzle fortress. I believe the key is to go top, middle, and then top again. And the only one that counts is the, out of those three platforms floating in the air, the middle, the longest one. As long as you step on that, you're fine. If you happen to do an extremely roundabout way, as long as you step on that middle long platform, you're fine. And it's around this point Bowser starts throwing hammers. Maybe he did it in World 6 or I killed him too quickly, but I don't seem to remember. Here we go, there's 7 toads. So I believe they kept up the toad consistency at least. But if you practice with Hammer Bros, you can definitely handle Bowser with the hammer throwing. They pretty much, you want to stand as close to them as possible, because the hammer always starts at their arm, which is going to be above you, even as Super Mario, and it goes in an arc over you. So the key is to stay underneath that arc, and the best way to do that is to stand right in front of them, because they're going to chuck it up and over. They never think to throw it directly straight ahead. And there's some interesting things going on with the Koopa Shell. I kind of didn't register that one Koopa and it passed through it and it killed it on the way back. But here we go, this is the final world. This is probably the level people will be the most familiar with in terms of muscle memory, just because of how long you'll spend on it trying to master it. Like, if you go back to something like World 3, for instance, just as a random example, you wouldn't have that much muscle memory with it because it's easy, which means you'll be thinking as you're playing, as opposed to this where it's like, oh, here comes this part, better do small tight hops, or here comes the superstar part. Let me just run through everything and do hops at the right time. But this will definitely be easier to watch, having cut out all the deaths. I believe 8-2 might be the worst out of this entire world, because this is an actual slow methodical level with a Lakitu. So there's no going fast here. But on the plus side, there's a 1-up right here that infinitely spawns, so if you know where it is and get it, and keep doing that, you will have infinite tries on this level while you're still on it. Once you get to 8-3, there isn't a convenient way to get 1-ups there. And a good idea here is to just jump from brick to brick, if you can, just to avoid all the clutter that's on the floor. And here I'm praying the Koopa Troopa does not bounce over the pipe and get me, because I do need to stay still for a lot of these jumps. I botched it that time. Yay! Despite it not looking like you can duck under it, you can. Even though Mario's stature is a bit higher than a standard square, even when he ducks as Super Mario. Obviously, when you're regular Mario, you can't duck because you're tall enough, you're small enough as is, and you don't have a duck feature to make yourself even smaller. 8-3, this is the level where Pierre nearly made it, but he got a timeout, and it was glorious. You gotta be careful with these hammer bros, they may jump 2 levels down like that. And this is what I was talking about, stay close to them, and they'll never hit you. And just, if you need to get past a hammer bro that isn't on these kind of brick structures, you just wait for them to hop after chucking a couple hammers, and just dash under them, kind of like with Bowser. So in a weird way, Bowser prepares you for the hammer bros, and the hammer bros prepare you for the later Bowsers. And having a fire flower in this level is a godsend, because it will nuke the hammer bros. So at this point, if you've done everything I've done, just take it slow. Keep note that there are... Oh, that was close. Just allow the hammer bros to spawn, then run back, nuke them. It'll make your life so much easier than trying to time something. He had about 6 seconds here and it timed out right on that jump. Oh my god, I cannot believe when that happened. But here we go, last level. So with A4, and probably have explained in the other run through, you need to take specific pipes. If you go past the point of no return, you loop, kind of like the puzzle fortresses. So the key is to figure out, to remember something about right before the pipe. So for me, I remember that it's a jump across the lava. Once you jump across the lava, get into the next pipe. And the point of no return would have been the pipe after that. If you pass that, you loop. I would not say point of no return, I guess the looping point. And the easy thing to do here is just let these guys kill themselves. So after the 2 winged Koopa Troopas, that's your second pipe you got to get into. I believe there's 3 or 4 pipes, so you got to enter before you complete the level. After the Cheep Cheeps, there's your 3rd pipe. Once you're underwater, you know you're in the home stretch. You make it through here. There's no looping sections, you just exit this area and you're at Bowser. You could just take a casual stroll along the bottom and the bloopers will never hit you. Now for the longest time I believed that I needed the fire flower to even make it through this area safely, but I've gotten a lot better since then. and just a simple run under him, and the game is won. Now, as the ending plays through, I guess I'll leave some last-minute thoughts. If anyone wishes to hear this without commentary, just a guide with just a visual guide and a card and the card slides, you know, kind of, because I've in every 100% guide I've put in a bit of, you know, guides so it would work well enough without commentary. And if here we go, the reward for 100%, absolutely nothing. You get that same ending. But as I was saying, if anyone wants me to run a silent 100% guide, I'll do that alongside this one. Anyway, that's all for now. See you guys for the next complete menu item. See ya.